Hey everybody, welcome to Cage My IQ. As always, I'm your host D-Bake, and joining with me today is my co-host Jim DiLullo. How's it going, Jim?
It's going good, man. How are you?
I am doing good. I'm getting psyched up for this main event this Saturday. I've been waiting for this fight for about 6 months to a year from now. I'm glad that I get to see it.
Yeah, same, man. My legs hurt just getting ready to talk about this.
Over under on leg kicks connected 75.
Over, easily.
Exactly.
Add a
But
couple
as
zeros to the end of that.
Yep. As everybody knows, this UFC fight night is headlined by Edson Barboza versus Giga Chikadze. These are two kickboxers with a wide range of leg kicks that they like to throw that damage people. So we're going to see a lot of leg kicks and not as much striking as we're used to. But this is going to be a barnstormer of a main event. But as always, before we get started with that, this is Cage My IQ, the best place for MMA content. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at the handles to the left. We are partnered with the Fighters First Network. All you got to do is go to Fighters First on YouTube, subscribe to the channel at the hashtag to the left, and then don't forget to hit the like button on our video and comment and let us know who you think is going to win this Saturday's main event. Plus, also don't forget to hit the notification button for the channel. That way, you never miss anything that gets released. We got these previews and recaps coming out, and then I'm starting to get a little bit more of the interviews out that I did earlier in the year. So hit the notification button so you never miss them when they get out on time. And then, of course, we also have merch for the podcast. All you got to do is go to fightersfirst.shop, scroll down to the Cage My IQ collection, and check out the shirt that we have in 3 different styles. And then we also have a hoodie out. So with fall coming out, the hoodie is the best gift for your friends for birthdays. And then we even have Christmas coming soon. So get a hoodie, stash it, and give it to one of your loved ones for Christmas. But let's get started with the previews that we have on here. This UFC fight night is a 6-fight main card. It had 6 prelims. Go to the Fighters First page. I just released the prelim videos that I have already, so check them out, like them, and give us your comments on each video for those. I'm looking forward to those just as much as I'm looking forward to this. But also, don't forget that this is a combination fight night where it's UFC and then it's the finale of the UFC, the Ultimate Fighter, with the 2 finale fights on here in the co-main event and then the third one. So it's going to be a nice culmination for that, where the 2 judges were, not the 2 judges, the 2 coaches were Volkanovski and Ortega, and they're going to be fighting next month in September on pay-per-view. So check out that later on, down in the end of September when we do the preview for that pay-per-view. But just like I said before, let's get started with the action. The first fight that we have on the main card is a nice middleweight bout between Gerald Murshot versus Makhmud Muradov, whereas Murshot is coming in at 32-14 as the plus 425 underdog, and then Muradov is coming in at 25-6 and is the minus 575 favorite. What do you think of this matchup?
Yeah, I think that this is a good matchup. Both are coming off of wins. Muradov is riding a 14-fight win streak and is 3-0 in the UFC. He throws a high volume with power and has above-average striking defense. He uses flying and spinning attacks and works the body to set up that overhand right, whereas GM3 fights out of the southpaw stance and throws less and has an average striking defense. His greatest strength is his ability to get the fight to the ground, and has 24 wins by submission. With this matchup, I fully expect Meerschaert to try to get the fight to the ground, but may have some issues as Muradov's takedown defense in the UFC is sitting at a lovely 100%. I expect Muradov to stick to what's gotten him to this point and push forward and throw a lot of power shots. Meerschaert's been stopped via punches 2 of his last 3 fights, and I think that's going to happen again with this fight. So I'm going to go with Makhmud Muradov by second round KO.
I feel bad for a guy like Meerschaert. They just keep feeding him to the upcoming phenoms
Yeah.
that are coming up. He's had a tough go of it where they just give him to these great strikers that like just knock you out. And then just like one of his last times up, he fought Shemaev, and he just beat him with one punch. That's all it took to knock out Meerschaert. But for this fight, you got Meerschaert, who is a southpaw who likes to use the 1-2 and is basic on the feet. He likes to get in the clinch and look for inside leg trips to get takedowns or body locks. He has a black belt in jiu-jitsu and is great on the mat. He is heavy on top and tends to be too aggressive at times. He looks primarily for submissions on top guard, and his go-to submissions are the guillotine or the Darce choke. And he has a suspect chin now. Of course, just like we said before, the competition has been knocking him out the past few fights. Then you got Muradov, who has good movement and is always in motion. He has really good striking and likes to use the stick and move game plan often, in which he throws the jab for it and just keeps on moving. He likes to use the low calf kick at range to establish distance. He will target every part of the body to spread the damage around, and he's always setting up his power shots. He likes to use the step-in, level change to the body, and then 2 over the top. He likes the overhand right in close range and uses jab to the overhand right. He tends to be easily pressured on the fence, but has really good escapes. And then his chin is really good and durable. Just like you said, I think that one of the good game plans for this fight is for him to get the fight to the ground or to get the fight along the fence to where he can clinch up and kind of minimize what Muradov can do with his hands and his feet. Because when you're that close, the only real things that you can use are knees and elbows. And he really won't have to worry about that with Muradov because he likes to, just like I said, keep the distance. And then Muradov only comes in when he does that overhand right, which is like pretty weird for fighters because when you throw overhand right, you want to have range to connect on it. And he's one of the very few that is unorthodox with that right overhand right. And then those leg kicks are pretty vicious. And I think the real game plan would be if like he can't get the fight to the ground, because he could do it if he could get inside and trip Muradov, would be to get the fight to the fence, pressure him, and as he's trying to escape, try and use the leg trip on him because they're already clinched up, and then just pressure him on the ground and then go for a submission because that would be a smart move. But I just feel like with the movement and the speed of Muradov, he's going to be able to move around, evade him, go in, hit, come out, circle around Meerschaert, hit him with the leg kicks. And then when Meerschaert tries to come in, I feel like that's the perfect time where he's going to use that overhand right in range and just put him down. And I feel like this is going to be like a one round knockout for him. It's going to be because of his chin. Yeah, because I feel like Murshot, his game plan is going to be get him down or get him to along the cage in the clinch, and he's going to have that one track mind, and he's going to not think about when he comes in the inside that Muradov is going to throw that overhand right and connect on him. And I think he's going to connect, and it's going to put him down, and therefore I got Muradov by first round TKO.
Okay, it's all about the pace, right? So if Muradov comes out and just like keeps Meerschaert on his back foot, just moving forward, moving backwards to get him to the cage, then that's going to set up that overhand, right? You know what I mean? The leg kicks are also going to negate the takedowns because you're going to have to worry about those constantly. Muradov, he, if I'm not mistaken, is from the Money Team, right? He's a Floyd Mayweather MMA fighter. So, you know, there's a reason why he's here. It's not just because Floyd's there, but like he trains with champions. He's brought up in champions. He's riding 14 fight win streak. The dude has been unstoppable for a very long time. And I feel like this is his biggest test because Meerschaert is kind of Unfortunately, like you said, at that gatekeeper kind of position right now, he fought Shemaev, he fought Kevin Holland. He just keeps getting fed these beasts, and he's getting another one too. So this is a big win for GM3 if he gets it, but it's a even bigger win for Makhmud.
Yep, and I do think if Muradov does make a mistake and gets on the ground, I think there is a play if you're a better to like just put a few dollars on Meerschaert by submission, guillotine on the ground. That's something to look at if you want to kind of play both sides. So if you want to go knockout by Muradov as the favorite because you're not going to make too much, put a little play on Meerschaert by submission because there's a chance that Muradov can make like a mistake, which I don't think he will. Get put on the ground, and then Meerschaert, who's dangerous with the submissions on top, could make him tap. But just like I said before, I think it's still going to be Muradov by first round knockout.
I agree, but those 24 submission wins, man, that's a scary thing.
It is. Yeah, that makes you think.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's move on to the second fight on the main card, which is a middleweight bout between Andre Petrovsky going up against Micheal Gilmore. Andre Petrovsky is coming in at 5-2 and is the -470 favorite, whereas Micheal Gilmore is coming in at 6-3 with the +360 underdog tag. What do you think of this matchup?
I like this matchup, honestly. I like Petroski. He was actually my pick for his division, his weight class for the Ultimate Fighter because mainly I'm a homer, and he's, according to the show, he lives 10 minutes away from where you and I live. So we got to root for the hometown New Jersey boy. But Petroski is a great wrestler with serviceable striking. He throws big looping shots, but when he lands, he has KO power. At times, he gets a little sloppy and doesn't disguise his takedowns, and he also telegraphs his punches too much. Gilmore is taking the fight on short notice, but has good power, good strikes, and is the more accurate of the two fighters. He has decent takedown defense, but Petroski's wrestling is going to be too much for him. I think Petroski is going to make this fight in kind of layman's terms, he's going to make this fight boring for the average fan because he's going to get this fight to the ground. He's going to work for positions, work for some ground and pound, and then he's going to lay on Gilmore, which makes me think that I'm going to go with I am going with Andre Petrovsky by decision win.
Oh, nice. I like that one.
Thank you.
First, I got Petroski. He is very basic on his feet. He uses the naked overhand left and likes to use that or the straight left to burst into the single leg entry for a takedown. He also uses the right hook in singular attempts whenever he's searching for a double leg takedown. His takedown attempts are always set up by a strike, and as I said before, his cardio is an issue where he tends to gas quickly and he starts dropping his hands often when he does that. He is very strong with his double leg and single leg takedowns. He likes to change levels when he's going for the single leg takedown. And then his motor is kind of different when he wrestles to when he's just striking. And he tends to, of course, use more energy when he's going with the wrestle and then striking. But then you got Gilmore, who's a fighter who tends to always back up and loves to walk his opponents into his leg kicks. He's always on his lead foot and tends to get reckless in close contact and throw away too many haymakers with his chin in the air. His takedowns aren't too good, and he tends to look for the guillotine to attack takedown attempts, and he tends to bite on feints a lot. I think first you said it well. Petroski was one of the favorites going after his first fight, and then of course he slipped, gassed out, and lost in the semifinals. And then Gilmore was the guy who was an alternate on the Ultimate Fighter. He came in basically on a day or two notice and fought, and then basically got his ass kicked. I think he was just not ready to fight, but he took it anyway because it was just an option for him to try and get into the UFC.
Yeah.
And I can see why he was an alternate because of his tendencies. And really, like, the only thing that favors him, I think, is his leg kicks. But at the end of the day, I think even with his gas tank being suspect, I still like to favor Petroski with that at -470 tag right there, and I think he's going to use the wrestling often. But I think what's going to happen is he's going to wrestle the first round. He's going to dominate, kind of just lay on him, strike a little bit, and then keep him from getting up. And then the second round, I think he's going to look for a finish. It's not going to be the finish you think it's going to be. He's going to look for a finish, wait for Gilmore to make a mistake trying to get up, because he's going to try and get up at all costs, because he's not going to want to lay all 3 rounds, or at least the first 2. So I think Gilmore's going to give his back up, and then Petrovsky's going to take his back, and I think he's going to choke him out in the second round by rear naked choke. I think that's going to be the play there. You can also find a good odds for that with Petroski winning by submission. Now drop that minus 470 down, and it might even be in the pluses. If not, it'll be close to like a plus 110 or something like that. I have to look at it. I had it, and then it changed, but that's a good play there, because I don't think he's going to knock him out. Yeah, there's a chance he could win by decision, but with him gassing out, I think the better play would be submission in the second round, because Gilmore doesn't go well with people who wrestle him. Like, he just lost basically because of that, and Petroski doesn't like throw much punches. He focuses right now on the wrestling side of his game plan and his jiu-jitsu. So for that, I got Petroski by second round rear naked choke submission.
Nice. I'd like to see Petroski come out a little more aggressive on the feet, though. It's been a while since the Ultimate Fighter filmed, so he's had time to like watch that tape. He's worked with world-class athletes, probably getting more invites to bigger gyms, and at least in our area, maybe the Gracie Academy over in Philly. But
I'm just thinking that, yeah,
I would think that he would be moving forward with his boxing. Like wrestling, he's great. Jiu-jitsu, getting a lot better. Like, he's got good jiu-jitsu. The boxing, I would say serviceable. I don't think it's suspect. Gas tank, kind of hunky, little chink in his armor there. But I'd like to see that stand up evolve a little bit more. And if it does, he's a dangerous fighter going into this division.
Yeah, and if you look at the Renzo gym in Philly, they're like a bunch of guys that wrestle good, and then they box. They kind of learn the box there as like a second thing. You look at guys like even on this card, Pat Sabatini. You look at Paul Felder. You look at Sean Brady. These are guys that wrestle and then learn to add some striking to go with it to make a better game plan. And that would be a perfect thing for him to go there. Not that far away. It's right near Fishtown, so it's not even that far from the gym that he trains at now. And then he just refines that so he can add that to it, so he doesn't have to rely heavily on his wrestling. And he can start striking and then using the striking to take people down or send. Like, he already sets his wrestling up with the striking he has now, but now people are really only worried about his wrestling. So the game plan to just last for a round until he gas, and then they go to work after that. Because that's basically what happened in the semifinals.
I think we're going to see a more refined Andre Petroski. I think he's going to grow from maybe some of those holes that were pointed out in the show. And I think he's got a bright career, man. It'd be nice to get him on the show 10 minutes away from us. So, Andre, if you're listening, do the boys
hit us up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But let's move on to the third fight on the card. This is probably one of my second favorite fight on the card.
Okay.
It's a welterweight matchup between Kevin Lee going up against Daniel Rodriguez. First, we got Kevin Lee, who's 18-6 and is the minus 150 favorite, whereas Daniel Rodriguez is 15-2 and is the plus 125 underdog. What do you think of this matchup?
I think that this is a very interesting matchup, man. It's a very interesting matchup in Kevin Lee's welterweight debut. Kevin Lee is returning after 1 year layoff due to an injury and is moving up in weight. I believe that this is a risky move for Kevin Lee, as he's going to be one of the smaller fighters in the division in terms of height. But as far as like his reach advantage, he's got a 77-inch reach advantage. And if you put that against the top 10 of the UFC welterweights, he has a smaller reach than one person, and that's Neil Magny. So you think about going in 5'9", with a 77-inch reach advantage. That's pretty advantageous as far as keeping distance. It's also beneficial for him because he has really good movement. You know what I mean? So he's got a good gas tank and he can move faster. This fight is going to be determined on how Lee approaches this matchup with Rodriguez. Rodriguez is heavy-handed and throws a lot with average accuracy. He also takes a good amount of punches per minute, which could be good for Lee, but Lee's also a little more calculated and likes to pick his shot, like we saw in the Gregor-Gillespie fight. He uses his striking to set up takedowns and attempts about 3 per fight, whereas Rodriguez is a great test for Lee because he has those heavy hands and also has a very good takedown defense at 83%. I'm conflicted with this fight, but I'm actually going to go with the underdog, Daniel Rodriguez, by decision.
First, I got Kevin Lee. He tends to not move his head off the center line and is stiff on his feet. He will switch stances occasionally, but is not good on the back foot. He has a good snapping body kick, but drops his hands often when doing so. He likes to throw a snapping jab and the 1s and 2s. He has slow overhand strikes when he uses them, and he's slow to bring his jab back when he throws it. He has great timing on his level changes and has a nice reactive double leg takedown. Lee also has a nice single leg takedown along the fence and a good body lock into leg trips in the clinch. He has good efficiency when taking his opponent's back on the mat and looks for a triangle or rear naked chokes and hammer fists. He is very good at controlling his opponents when on top. He has good takedown defense and transitions. He tends to slow down in competitive fights and has a suspect chin. Then you got Daniel Rodriguez, who's a southpaw who's smooth on his feet and uses good boxing. He has smooth hands and likes to throw off both his front and back foot. He has a nice snapping jab that he constantly spams, and he uses a check right hook when the opponent tries to close distance. He tends to not defend the takedown well and uses the guillotine to attack the takedown entries of his opponent. He has great cardio, a good chin, and he always puts on high volume punch-wise in his fights. This was kind of hard for me because when you look at it, you got to put in the fact that Kevin Lee's come back. I think it's actually almost 2 years, almost. Well, maybe it's a year and a half. Because he had not just one knee, but he had surgery on both knees. So not only is he moving up a division from lightweight to welterweight, but he's also coming in on after this is his first fight post-surgery. So that's like a double whammy there where he's going to be facing bigger guys and then doing it where he might not even be 100% right away. And Daniel Rodriguez is arguably one of the best strikers in the division boxing wise, and he's going to put in the volume and he's going to throw a lot, especially with Kevin Lee being kind of slow with his striking. A lot of his throws are kind of like laggy where he throws it, but then his comeback is kind of slow. And I think even with his kicks, so I think Daniel Rodriguez is going to target that. He's going to know that Kevin Lee will throw, but he's going to target when he releases on his jab. And he's going to do it right afterwards. So he's going to try and connect, and then he's going to try and connect with combinations. So it's going to be like for every one punch Lee puts in, I feel like Daniel Rodriguez is going to game plan to do 2 or 3 right afterwards, knowing that he'll have the faster release and then come back. But like the thing that makes this tougher is the fact that I feel like if Kevin Lee can wrestle at 100%, that's going to be like the X factor, because he'll be able to limit what Daniel Rodriguez is going to do by just putting him on the mat and then keeping him there, because your best friend against somebody with the high volume striking is not letting them strike. And that's what happens when you take a guy down, especially with Rodriguez, who struggles against defending it. But in this, like, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Rodriguez is gonna win this by I can't believe I'm saying this, but by decision. Like I wanted to say knockout, but I still think that Kevin Lee will be able to withstand a lot of the punching Like, I wanted to say second round knockout, but I feel like it's going to be a battle of the takedown and then the striking, because I do think Rodriguez is going to get taken down, but I feel like he's going to be able to get up and then just rack up the volume, because I feel like going into this, Kevin Lee is going to be 80%. I don't think he's going to be 100%. And I think at the end of the day, with a bigger guy and then bad knees, it's going to be hard for him to do all that work that he likes to do wrestling-wise, especially in your first fight. I think a year from now, he might be good because he'll have that time in the octagon. But I think right now, I got to favor Daniel Rodriguez by unanimous decision.
I think you're underestimating Daniel Rodriguez's takedown defense. You said he struggles. He's got 83%. That's pretty damn good. Kevin Lee is a great wrestler, right? But one thing that we're missing, in my opinion, is that Kevin Lee, when he was a lightweight, he was a big lightweight. So there was a pretty big weight cut. There's not going to be that big of a weight cut come down now, so because he's obviously moving up. So we might see a more energized, less depleted Kevin Lee. You know what I mean? So he might.
Just remember, Mike Perry. It wasn't that hard for him to take down Daniel Rodriguez, and Mike Perry is known for his striking. He's not known for being a wrestler, and he took him down with ease.
But Mike Perry's like ridiculously strong. He's like strong as an ox. The way I see Kevin Lee, it's funny because it's kind of like if he gets on a roll, it sets up a rematch between him and Michael Chiesa, right? That whole press conference where he was talking about his mom and all that crazy stuff. But like when Chiesa moved up, he looked unbeatable, right? But then he ran into Vicente Luque. This could be Kevin Lee's opportunity to kind of get on track, but he's moving up into, I think, an even more dangerous division than where he was at lightweight. That top 10 is super dangerous.
And to me, Daniel Rodriguez is the guy that's going to move into that top 10 just because of the way he moves, the way he has that knockout power with with that jab. That jab is just pretty when you see him throw it. Like it's like amazing. And people are going to doubt him just because he lost to Nicholas Dalby, who, if you think about it, he lost to Tim Means, and then Rodriguez beat Tim Means. So it's like, hey, it's all about matchups and how
Styles
you favor.
make fight.
Styles makes fights, and I'm scared off by the double knee surgery.
Yeah.
And like maybe if this wasn't his first fight, I might be more 50-50 on it. But with this, I'm going Daniel Rodriguez. I'm scared away from Kevin Lee.
I'm with you. I mean, I picked Rodriguez too. So I mean, we just started arguing about our picks and we picked the identical one, right? It's crazy. But like Kevin Lee's Kevin Lee, right? He challenged for the title at one point, so he does have that experience. We'll see who shows up.
Yep. But let's move on to the fourth fight on the card. This is the first finale fight for the Ultimate Fighter. It is a bantamweight matchup between Ricky Turcios versus Brady Hiestand. Ricky Turcios comes in at 11-2 and is the -165 favorite, whereas Brady Hiestand is 6-1, is the +140 underdog. What do you think of this matchup?
I like it. I think it's a good matchup. Ricky moves really awkwardly and has a crazy style, which sees him move forward with tons of pressure and stance changes. He uses a variety of strikes to keep his opponent guessing, but has defensive moments that are kind of suspect, and he makes bad decisions sometimes, and it leaves him open to being countered. Brady is a great wrestler with good takedowns and get-ups. He has struggled with striking defense, but has decent boxing. He also has stated in this press leading up to this fight that he was fighting with a torn meniscus, I believe, during tough filming, which prevented him from using his leg kicks. So we should expect more leg kicks from Brady. He's got a great gas tank, but becomes regimented and kind of formulaic, causing him to struggle with an unorthodox fighter like Ricky. If Brady can get this fight to the ground, he wins. But I think Ricky's unusual style will be too much of a problem and cause Brady to struggle disguising takedowns, which is why I'm going to go with Ricky by decision.
Yeah, first we got Turcios, who is a natural striker who isn't afraid to get hit or take damage in order to dish out damage himself. He throws the 1 and 2s and likes to mix his strikes with his high kick. He always likes to finish a combination with the leg kick. One of his go-to kicks is the low kick to the lead leg. When being taken down, Ricky has a problem of focusing too much on incoming strikes rather than just on defending the takedown itself. He likes to attack the body in fights. He goes for takedowns at times, but he has a poor posture and technique. He has a great chin, good cardio, and high volume. And then you got Hiestand, who is a fighter who likes to throw the straight right and often has his hands low. When he starts getting gassed out, he tends to lower his hands even farther, and he has a good wrestling background. He goes for a double leg takedown along the fence and wrestling rides and has good mat returns. He tends to gas after 1 to 1.5 rounds, and he has pacing issues, of course. I think this is just a situation of who's going to win between the striker and the wrestler. And it's going to all come down to how Ricky Turcios can defend the takedown, and if Brady Hiestand can avoid those big shots that are going to be coming in from Turcios.
Yeah.
And you see with the guy like Turcios, you would see with him putting in a high volume and having a really good gas tank, that's why he's favored and should be favored even more. But then with a guy like Brady Hiestand who has gas tank issue, it's the fact that he's a wrestler, which is like a weakness of Turcios. That's why it's only a minus 165. And I actually have a lot of people that I know that are favoring Brady Hiestand. My buddy Justin, you can find him on YouTube, UFC Bro Picks. He's favored heavily with Brady Hiestand. He thinks he's going to win by decision. He thinks he's going to out wrestle him and just keep him down on the mat. And I'm thinking the opposite here. Like, I think he's going to take him down to the mat in the first round. He's going to win round 1 just because of that. I think he's going to control him, but I think he's going to slow down. That's when Ricky's going to take over. He's going to start hitting him with those combinations. And I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like he's just going to rack up the volume count. Yeah. It's going to be the kind of it's almost like the same situation as Kevin Lee versus Dana Rodriguez, wrestling versus the volume striking.
Yeah.
And I don't think Turcios is going to knock Hiestand down because Hiestand's just going to keep moving and keep looking for those wrestling entries. But I feel like even when he tires out, Hiestand's always going for the takedown, and then he's able to get it. But I feel like when he's tired out, he's going to give up the position, and then Turcios is just going to get right back up, and then going to start hitting him with combination after combination after combination. And I feel like it's going to be round 1, Hiestand, and then round 2 and 3, Turcios. Because without even just looking at it, I was like, okay, Hiestand round 1 and Turcios round 3. So it's all to me about who wins round 2, and I'm going to go with Turcios. And therefore, I got Ricky Turcios by unanimous decision.
Okay, so we're on the same page. That awkward style kind of reminds me of Tim Elliott.
Yeah.
Where it's just like a very weird, kind of gangly, lanky kind of move, like fluid movement that doesn't look natural. But Ricky works it so well, which kind of, I know he struggles against wrestlers, but the way that Brady is, he's very, very, I'm going to do this, so you're going to do that. Like, it's very call and response, right? So I'm very, very intrigued with this because his numbers are extremely close. So maybe they're kind of riding into like the gas tank issues could have been caused by, him having a knee injury where he was not being able to be explosive. But I don't know, man. I'm still going to ride with Ricky with you as well because I think that's a great pick. I mean, I think he's going to win.
Yeah. Hey, if Hiestand can manage his gas tank and not tire out and then make this last into the second round, I think there's a chance that he could win 2-1 on the judges' scorecards just by being able to take the second round. But I would have to see it first to go with it, and that's why I'm going with Turcios because he's going to, at the end of the day, he's going to last all 3 rounds. He's going to put in the volume, and he's just going to continue to move.
Yeah, and even if he just keeps range, you know what I mean? Yeah. Not like running away, but like in and out, bob and weave. Just get in there,
Yeah.
tap him up a little bit, wear him down, and just keep moving. He's gonna get. If it goes to the judges, he's gonna win just based on activity.
Yep. But let's move on to the co-main event of the evening. This is the other half of the tough finale. It's a middleweight matchup between Bryan Battle going up against Gilbert Urbina. As you know, it was supposed to be Terrence Gore, but he got hurt, and then he wasn't going to be able to fight in the finale, so he got replaced by his semifinal opponent, Gilbert Urbina. Bryan Battle comes in 6-1, is the -160 favorite, whereas Gilbert Urbina is coming in at 6-2, and it's the +135 underdog. What do you think of this matchup?
Definitely not the matchup I was hoping for. The original matchup was going to be a banger, and I was looking forward to that. But watch, this one's going to be fight of the night. But this is your classic. We finally made it to it, Dan, where I get to say this is a grappler versus striker matchup. With Battle being a good striker who puts out good volume and uses head kicks to his advantage. He has a decent takedown, but has suspect takedown defense with good get-ups. Urbina is a good grappler with poor striking defense, which is going to be the deciding factor of this fight, in my opinion. Battle puts out a lot and is accurate and will force Urbina to hunt the takedown, leading him to become open to get knocked out. And I'm going to be short with this one, man. I think I'm definitely going with Battle by second round KO in this fight.
Okay. I can see that. I got Bryan Battle, who likes to switch stances a lot and throws a bunch of kicks in his game plan. He throws kicks to the head, body, and the legs. The volume adds up with his kicks. Battle has average hands where he throws a big looping shot that can be predictable, and he likes to dip heavy when he gets really pressured. The left hook is his go-to strike when he goes for the dip. He doesn't like to accept the bottom position, and he fights to get back to his feet. And then you got Urbina, who usually throws one singular strike at a time. He uses a front kick to the body or a naked push jab, and usually doesn't throw anything after those. He tends to telegraph what he's going to do, and then fighters catch on to him. Urbina tends to leave his hands down and doesn't move his head off the center line. He has a bad poker face and backs up when he gets hit good. He likes to go to the back of his opponent and use the body triangle to secure the back. This is a matchup that I think is very cut and dry on this one. I didn't even have to think about this too much because when you saw him fight Terrence Gore in the semifinals, he got knocked down 4 times, and basically the ref had to call for it because every time he got hit, he got put to his feet because of Gore and the striking. Gore's he's one of the most polished fighters on the season, where he can just keep moving and fight, and then you didn't even have to see his grappling, which is probably one of the best part of his game. Training with the Gracies and whatnot, and then now he's at ATT, I believe, down south. But a guy like Bryan Battle is no slouch with his leg kicks. And I think the one thing that's going to win this isn't even going to be his leg kicks. I think he's going to use the leg kicks and then set him up with that left hook of his. And I think he's going to knock out Urbina, or at least knock him to the ground, and then get him in top guard, and then finish him with the ground and pound. And I think it's going to be early fight. I think he's going to do that. He knows that Urbina is easily hittable, and then gets put on his butt so quick. And I think it's going to be a first round knockout by Bryan Battle.
Okay, so we're around the part, right? Yeah. It's I definitely think we're going to see Gore in the UFC this year. Like, he's going to, as long as his injury is not something that's going to take him into 2022, but I feel like we're going to see him either be a late addition to a fight where he's called in short notice, or they just give him Dana White Contender Series. You know what I mean?
Well, Dana White has already come out and said that when he's ready to fight, that he's going to book him for a fight in the UFC. He said that he owes them that because he made the finals, and the only reason he's not competing is because of a fluke injury. So Dana White has already assured him of that.
Good. Maybe he gets the winner of Petroski and, God, what's his opponent's name? Goldman?
Yeah,
Gilmore, I'm sorry. Gilmore, I'm
Gilmore.
sorry.
Can you imagine if Urbina were to win this? How Gore would react, knowing that he dominated him, and then Urbina would win the season just because he replaced injured Gore.
There will always be an asterisk next to his name if he wins this. Like it's just one of those things. Like great opportunity for Gilbert Urbina, and if he wins it, my God, you know what he's going to see. He's going to see Gore again. Like there's going to be the rematch, right, for who's the true king of the middleweights from this season. But the kicks are going to be a lot for Battle, and he's just going to nullify those legs, and he's just going to piece him up on the feet. I can't see Gilbert Urbina winning this fight. Unfortunately, it's a great record, good fightor. I just think the matchup wise, this is not a matchup that favors Gilbert. But I wish him the best of luck, and if he wins, he can punch me in the face next time he sees me.
I think this is the one thing where, even with Bryan Battle's his weaknesses, just like I said, he uses the dip too much when set up some of his strikes. I think this is a fight where it will kind of help him out in this fight. It won't hinder him like in most other fights. It's going to help him out there because he's going to use that dip and then just throw that left shot. Yeah. And with the chin issues of Urbina, it's going to knock him out.
Yeah, I don't see this being the most polished of fights. No. A word I would like to think of is messy or sloppy. This has this sets my sloppy radar off. Like I think that this could get a little hard to watch sometimes.
Yep. But let's move on to the main event of the evening.
Yes, let's do that.
We got a featherweight slugfest between Edson Barboza versus Giga Chikadze. Edson Barboza is coming in at 22-9 and is the minus 115 favorite. Then you got Giga Chikadze, who is coming in at 13-2 and is the minus 105 underdog. What do you think of this main event?
Oh my God, Daniel. This is a fight that, when they announced it, I considered a dream matchup. The battle of the leg kicks, that should have been on the poster. I'm surprised it wasn't, but I understand. On paper, this fight should be fight of the night. But I see this fight being more of a chess match based on the level of competition. Every time we talk about Edson, and I feel like we've talked about him 3 times this year, we talk about how his boxing is developing, and then we highlight his leg kicks. Well, in my opinion, I think his boxing is developed, and his use of the jab has been so much fun to watch. You go back to that Shane Burgos fight, it was a masterclass on how to use a jab. Giga is a well-rounded striker, as we know, who uses his kicks and striking to set up his patented Giga kick. With this matchup, I expect it to be more calculated, like I said, like a chess match rather than a firefight. They both throw about the same. The big difference is their striking defense, where Edson takes almost two times more than what Giga does. The amount of leg kicks and check kicks that I envisioned in this fight going into it, I don't see anyone walking out of this fight and walking out of the octagon. I feel like they're both going to need a wheelchair. But I also think that we are going to see a lot of kicks, but I do see a lot more counter striking and waiting for the right moment to set up the next shot. This is Giga's toughest challenge, and this is an opponent for Edson that could really give him a push in a division that he has been really thriving in. But with that being said, I think Giga's going to win this. I think he's a man for the challenge. I think he's going to go by decision, but in the back of my mind, I know this is kind of an easy way out. I think that there's a possibility that Edson can just do enough to outwork Giga in this.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to ride with Giga by decision.
Yep. First, I got Barboza. He has a powerful low calf kick and likes to attack his opponent's calf on the inside of the leg. His kicks are very quick and dangerous, and he also throws body kicks, high kicks, and switch kicks. He will check his opponent's leg kicks, and he has a nice Muay Thai background. He likes to use his back foot. He likes to take his back foot and walk his opponents into his shots. His boxing has improved tremendously, where his hands are quick and throws a stiff jab and rip to the body. He uses the left hook, and every strike is used with intent. He throws counters at times as well. He has a crazy flying knee and tends to drop his lead hand when he's throwing a jab. And he struggles to strike when he is moving laterally. Then you got Giga Chikadze, who has a kickboxing background and likes to switch his stances often while mirroring his opponent. He loves to throw the body kick, roundhouse body kick, and then the infamous Giga kick. He has unique accuracy with his kicks. He uses a lot of feints to set his kicks up, and his kicks pack a punch. Giga tends to win the majority of his punches and usually only starts to box later in fights when he starts to get a little fatigued. His hands are wild, and he never sets up his boxing and always overextends on his left hook. He has a tendency to dip his hand when he is throwing the overextended shot. He doesn't like to get into the clinch, in which his way of defending it is to push away, and in return gives up too many double underhands often. He usually goes for low IQ judo throws when clinched up, and he needs to improve his takedown defense. I think the scare of the takedown won't be much of an issue in this fight.
Yeah, same.
But I do think a big thing will be Edson Barboza in the clinch. I think you might be shocked, but I think Edson's going to do it a lot, where he's going to start striking, Giga will start striking, and then you'll see Edson just go right in and clinch him up.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with that. That's a good plan.
Because he can limit those the shots from the leg kicks by just clinching up on him, and then do a lot of that and push him against the cage, get to the point where he can just throw knees to the legs of Chikadze and kind of like put damage to them to where he's not going to have to worry about getting hit with that Giga kick. But the one thing that Burgos I had success with was I think it was the switch kick. He had success with where he kept on hitting Barboza with the switch kick. So I could see something where Giga Chikadze tries to do that in the open. He'll use a lot of the switch kick, or he might target like the leg of Barboza, just like Barboza might do to him. He'll target like a low kick to like the knee and hit him there instead of like just the snapping kicks. It'll be more like they'll try to get more accurate with their kicks in certain spots to get the movement down. But I think the thing that a lot of people are like, we're going with Chikadze just because that Giga kick. But a lot of people don't realize with him is, just like you said, Barboza has refined his boxing since moving down a division. And a lot of his losses are to big-time opponents in the lightweight division. And then he moved down and he did get lost, but he fought somebody really well down here in the featherweight division, and his gas tank has improved because of the move down. He's not worried about fighting guys that are bigger than him or extorting. Like, he's actually looks a lot better, and then he moves a lot smoother. And you saw that with the Burgos fight, where he was just piecing them up with the combinations and then mixing in those leg kicks as well that slowed Burgos down. And I think at the end of the day, one thing with Giga is, just like I said, he always starts the round with the kicks, and then he's had success with them. But then later on, as he slows down, that's when he decides to throw the strikes, and he's usually not moving when he throws them. He's standing in like a singular spot, and then he just wings them. He just throws them like this, because usually against somebody who's of lesser value, it's going to get hit with it, but he's not going to be able to do that to Barboza.
No, not at all.
I don't want to say that their leg kicks will kind of cancel out, because that Giga kick is like the death clutch blow of kicks right there, because it's right to like the rib cage of his opponent, and it just like it hurts him so bad. But I think Barboza is going to avoid that. He's going to be able to avoid that. He's going to take the damage, and then he's going to come in and just piece him up with the striking. I think that's going to be a big difference. And for that, I have Edson Barboza win this by unanimous decision. I think it's going to be, the longer the fight goes, the better it is for Barboza, because of some of the issues for Chikadze. But I won't say I'm not scared for that knockout shot by Chikadze right to the side or the head with the leg kicks that he throws. But I just think there's not much to fear with this hand strikes. I think it's going to be all legs, whereas Barboza can get you from both sides now. He did when he hit Burgos, he hit him with that strike, and then it was a delayed reaction before
it was a
just
jab.
like ran to and that's something that before Barboza didn't have, but now he has it, and it makes him a more scary opponent, and that's why he's the favorite going in.
Yeah, and it's close too, right? This is probably the closest fight. With this one, man, it can go either way, right? So we're both on opposite sides of this fence, and it's just to see who can be more accurate. I love Barboza. I love watching him progress. There's something about Giga's movement, that his ability to not absorb as many punches, right? So he, like I said, he takes double less than what Barboza does, but the level of competition's bigger, right?
Sometimes like they say with the fighters, they move with the punch. They just move with it, so it lessens the damage of it because you already know it's coming, so you kind of take it, but because you move, it's not hitting you in the spot that it should be. So you take majority of the damage off of it, and then you can keep moving and fighting.
Yeah, and this again, biggest competition for Giga, right? He wins this, like we're at that point, right? Big matchup. Both these guys are ranked. I think they're 9 and 10, or so not a big shift in opponents, right? Giga wins, he goes to 9. Edson goes to 10. Edson win, he stays, right? I'd like to see the winner of this fight get matched up with either Dan Ige or Arnold Allen. Because the only other two that aren't booked in the division, if I'm not mistaken, are Calvin Kattar and Korean Zombie. And I'd like to see those two match up.
Yeah.
And then you have Ige and Arnold to be there for the winner of this fight, unless those two are going to be matched up.
I think Dan Ige would be the smart choice because Arnold Allen, I still think he is undefeated, and they're going to want to give him somebody up higher. Yeah. And then you got to remember, a guy who hasn't fought is Josh Emmett since he got hurt, and he should be coming back anytime soon because I think he's training now.
Didn't he fight recently?
No. He hasn't fought in over a year since of his injury.
Okay.
Which he suffered in the Burgos fight. Yeah, the Shane Burgos fight.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Hurricane Shane.
Yeah.
Came through.
Yeah. And I think Emmett is at that 6 or 7 spot, too. So
yeah, he's just like hogging that spot, obviously, because of an injury, right?
Yeah. But this just screams warts and like welts on the legs for these opponents, and just like
wheelchairs.
I said, that's why I said over under on 75 strikes, because if you get like a 5-round fight and these guys all they do is throw kicks. I think in the Burgos fight he had 35 or 40 kicks, and I think it was a lot to handle for Burgos, and that's a guy that started to throw the kicks right afterwards. So I think this is something to think about in this fight, is what can happen and then what to take. And he's going to have to try and, like I said, clinch up with Giga to limit all those damages that he takes, because he's not the type of fighter like Giga where he can avoid the big shots or go in the direction. So, but at the same time, he'll have the striking advantage where not only does he throw kicks, but he has the boxing. So as long as he stays away from that big leg shots by Giga, he should be the guy to go with.
Yeah, he's got to make it uncomfortable, right? He's got to get in close because they're both two long guys. I think Giga's the bigger fighter, but I think Edson has the longer reach. So Edson has to get in there, and he's got to just make it dirty, like you said, elbows, knees, work the clinch, and just drop him. But we'll see, man. This is a exciting fight. If it goes the way that it's drawn up, this is a fight of the year contender, not just fight of the night, fight of the year contender.
Yep. But that'll wrap things up for this week's UFC Fight Night preview, headlined by Edson Barboza versus Giga Chikadze. As always, we are Cage My IQ, the best place for MMA content. Before we get going, I want to get a shout out to our sponsors. The first one is 99 Jersey. Use promo code SportsBoxShow20 at checkout to receive 20% off your next purchase. Our second sponsor is Oddsjam. Go to the link in the bio, click the link, sign up, and watch as you never miss a bet again. And then lastly, we got High Tide Herbal. Use promo code CageMyIQ10 at checkout to receive 10% off your next purchase. High Tide Herbal is a company owned by coaches and athletes who specialize in speedy recovery. All the products have CBD oil in it. And then the goal with High Tide Herbal is to help athletes recover from injury faster than usual. So once again, use promo code CageMyIQ10 at checkout to receive 10% off your next purchase. That'll wrap things up. But once again, I'm your host, D-Bake. This is my co-host, Jim DiLullo. We will see you guys next Thursday as we preview UFC Fight Night, which is headlined by Derek Brunson versus Darren Till in a nice middleweight matchup that will happen. It was supposed to take place in London, but because of issues over there in the UK, they had to move it to the UFC Apex. And then once that is over, we got a week break between that before we get to September, I believe it's 18th, which will be headlined by Anthony Smith and Ryan Spann.
Oh, that's a good one.
Check all those out. I got interviews coming out in the next few days. I got one tomorrow with recently released a UFC fighter, Justin James, and then I got a few more coming up in the woodworks. So hit the notification button so you don't miss any of this stuff that we have popping out. And hit the like button on this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the Fighters First Network that we're on, www.youtube.com/FightersFirst. And then let us know what you think in the comment section of who you think is going to win this main event. But as always, check the content out, and we will talk to you guys later.
See ya.
See ya.